such a weird way to, because like I don't know, I just went through roller coaster emotions because Iowa State's been freaking out the last hour and a half. Like the whole Twitter is just blowing up.
Oh, about I've been on the road, so the whole schedule thing has got people that wound up.
Everyone's really mad,
really,
because even Kansas State fans are really mad because like it's just that's like literally the entire timeline. Like they released it, and then ever since it's just been about Kansas State, because I feel like for the longest time that rivalry has not been like stirred. It was like all Kansas State. It was a close game, but we lost in heartbreaking fashion. But it's just now like becoming competitive, and I don't know. 2027 is a long time from now, but
right. I mean, you know, it's not out of inconceivable that we could both have new coaches then.
Yeah,
I mean, both of them are. You know, have you followed this Michigan crap that's going on?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, so I saw somebody post a picture of Matt Campbell in a Michigan hat. And then somebody said, that's not Lance Leopold or whatever the guy is at Kansas. So, I mean, and then Kansas State's coach is really good. So, I mean, I don't disagree with you. And the fact that it's been a rivalry that long should get people wound up. I mean, that's part of the problem with the new college football is that they're not keeping the natural rivalries anymore. I mean,
I think that was luring and kind of worried about it in the future. And now that they have all these schedules, the 2027. I feel like, I don't know, obviously they had to do a crazy system to make sure everyone played each other once, home and away, for the first couple of years. But I don't know. It's just
well, you like the tradition. You always have.
But it's just
I do too.
No,
I mean,
this was a add-on to the Kansas not playing at Kansas this year in basketball.
Right.
I just think it just makes zero sense. We've had literally that rivalry is one of the best. Like we're the only schools competitive with Kansas throughout the last 25 years.
Right. Yeah. So I agree.
The frustration for me is we just don't get respect.
Well, let's back the truck up a second. So what we're talking about is that on Twitter it just came out. We have the schedule, the Big 12 schedule. If you haven't seen it yet, starting with next year through 2027, and in 2027 we do not play Kansas State at all.
Nope. And for the first time, and like
it was 1910 or whatever you said. Yeah,
like it was 110 years long. 2 pandemics. It survived 2 pandemics, two separate pandemics, 100 years apart, and we're not playing them.
Do we see? I mean, this is the first time I've really gotten to take a good look at it. Is there anybody we play every year those 4 years?
No, we have 0 protected rivalries, and that's what that's the one thing that we're kind of stirred up about is that we have the one to protect the rivalry we only wanted was Kansas State, and I think that was. And I think both schools agreed to it too, so I think that was kind of why it's shocking, and especially Twitter blowing up when it's both schools being mad at it. That's when Twitter's gonna. But obviously, it's 2027. It helps it being the furthest away. You know.
Yeah.
But
right.
Here's my thinking. No one's even thought about this yet. What 2027 comes around, Kansas State and Iowa State, the next 3 or 4 years, we have great games. What if we just play them in the conference title game?
Yeah.
Like, what if that happens? Like, that's the best case scenario of it continue on. But both their programs which Kansas State and Iowa State are never really good at both at the same time. Which right now we're both pretty good, and obviously I don't know if Kansas State is in the running for the Big 12 championship just like we are, and they play Texas this Saturday. But I don't know, it just kind of got everyone riled up, and I'm just like. Man, and like the next thing is I'm worried about is just like the Iowa game's next. The Iowa Sock game's next, and like that's kind of like my worry. And
well, there's only 9 games on this, so we got to have the Iowa game has got room. I mean, we got place for it, but we don't know if they do. We don't know if they will.
Yeah, like Iowa, because like their new schedule is going to come out, and like they're going to have a gauntlet of schedule, and I don't think why would they want to come play a Power 5 game? But I don't know. It's just obviously, and plus. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
just kind of got me riled up, and everyone else riled up because Kansas State game has been fun the last couple of years, and it just kind of sucks that it's going to be taken away from us.
Oh, I'm sure the powers that be down there probably don't like it either. But what are you going to do? I mean, the thing that I don't get, we play out of those 4 years, we play UCF 3 times, we play Kansas State 3 times, we play.
Yeah, we didn't play West Virginia. We don't play West Virginia this year.
Yeah, but we've got West Virginia 3 times. Yeah, so that's obviously what's going on. Arizona State's on there twice. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that's a bizarre year. Then 2026, our road games are Arizona, BYU, and UCF, and then
Baylor.
Yeah, and Baylor, of course. I'm talking about the new guys.
Yeah.
But then 2025, our home games are Arizona, Arizona State, and BYU, and then Kansas.
That's
Yuck.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, it's just because Arizona State, their program's not very good right now, and Arizona's turning around. The Pac-12. It's just crazy that the Pac-12 is having the best year in probably 20 years, and it's their last year. But
we only get to play Utah twice out of those. I mean, that'll be they're really good. I mean,
it's just.
Kyle Whittingham will still be there, I'm sure, because he's been there forever as it is. So
yeah, I just obviously started out the podcast in a negative light when
that's okay.
Came out with a great win against Baylor, and a Baylor win where I've just been I didn't get to watch the 2017 game live because I was working. And that's just how crazy I am. I know when I've never seen Iowa State play that good against Baylor, and just we won from the beginning to start, and it's just we dominated from start to finish, and we had many moments where we could have slipped up and the game could have gone south from us, but the Baylor has no fans there.
It's so bad. The atmosphere was so bad.
It's usually and this was like the least chippy of a game versus Iowa State and Baylor in a long time. I think Dave Aranda and Campbell almost like each other too much because they the way they play styles, and it just kind of the way that they're looking like, I don't know. It's just I hope they can stick it out with Dave Aranda because I think he's a decent coach. It's just people have such a short memory. They won the Big 12 not that long ago,
right? But that was his first year, right? Yeah. So that's the whole I'm winning with somebody else's players mentality.
That's true.
I mean that's what they're probably saying. I mean, but he's the Mr. Rogers of the Big 12. I mean, he's so calm. I mean, I'm sure he's a super nice guy, but geez, I mean, he's not something I look like I want to run. He is like the antithesis of Dan McCarney. I mean, it's like a Laurel and Hardy. It's a way old reference, but of those two guys are just so opposite. But yeah, that was a fun win. I mean, it's always good because you still have a bad taste in your mouth because of the way Baylor treats women, and so it's always nice to kind of hammer on Baylor. But man, what an awful atmosphere that place was.
I mean, they made their stadium smaller. From the one before, so I don't know.
Yeah, Rocco played. I mean, I've heard people criticize Rocco. I thought he played pretty well. I mean, and I tell you what, our offensive line is making huge strides. I mean, Cartavius busts one and Sama bust one, but then I knew exactly what was going to happen when Sama had that fumble. I knew he was probably done for the day. When you got an 18-year-old, you got to send a message that regardless of whether it looked like he possibly was down or not, I mean, that's not what Campbell's going to tolerate.
Which I think that just shows where the program's at. We have a lot of like Eli Sanders is just rock solid.
Yep.
Like that's exactly who you want as like a hybrid 1-2. Just throw him in there because he's so patient.
Yeah,
he's so patient on his runs, and finally the line's blocking.
Yeah,
and it's just nice to see. Like we averaged 4.6 yards rush. Like that's pretty much that's money in the Campbell era. Like,
yeah, right.
When we're rushing for under 2 yards against Ohio, like when we said that a million times, like that is just that improvement is the game. Like like in the Ohio game, we missed that one field goal. Like he's been money ever since.
Yep, yes.
That's a low key thing we don't even think about. We went 100% on field goals. He made a 45-yard field goal.
Yeah,
and we don't even really have to think about we're not like clenching or we don't every time we go to a kick we was like
clench your butt cheeks. Here we go. We're kicking a field goal.
There's no way.
Man.
Speaking of field goals, like the Farmageddon game where we went and we scored, we came all the way back. And Grandma Honey misses the kick, extra point gets blocked. Not gonna happen 2027. But that was when we met up in the Kansas City Chiefs stadium, which
in Arrowhead.
Yeah, which we used to think the rivalry is good back then, but enough to play at a neutral site. Now it's not even looked at anymore.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
That nice. The playing Arrowhead is fun. I mean, when I went to the Florida State game when Seneca was playing, that was a great day. But I wish we could do that again. Maybe we will. I mean, we might have to, as long as some of these road trips are. We're probably going to have to meet at a neutral site for crying out loud.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been really fun. That game was the start to finish. Rocco fumbled the snap. There was a point where Rocco fumbled the snap where that could have really turned the game. Where he fumbled it, he just didn't really. He panicked a little bit, but just got on the ball. And how many times where that is just like this stretch where they fumble the ball on their side of the field and then they go quick score, screw over our defense, who had been playing great all day, which we really didn't do all day, which is really the difference between the game. Because how many times do we just treat our defense? Because our defense has always been for this year has been up and down, but for the most part has been rock solid. And finally, as Campbell said, we need to play complementary football where we're not like the defense doesn't have to create everything, but now that our offense is making explosive plays and like how fun is to see Norton break out like a 48-yard run and because this is only his second touchdown of his career or third touchdown of his career. And
he was hurt most of the time last year.
It was just nice to have him healthy and like having those three healthy. See Eli and Norton and Sanders.
And then Arlen Harris got in too. He got a couple snaps in. Yeah. So I mean, that room is deep. I mean, but you're right about the defense. I mean, heck, we only gave up 67 yards rushing to Baylor. I mean, so that'll win you a lot of games in the Big 12. And
you said 67 yards.
We gave up. They had 67 yards rushing.
Just like we have a freaking young linebacking core. That just excites the hell out of me. If we can keep like Carson Willich came in and played great.
And McLaughlin is playing better every night. I mean, jeez.
It's just and Verdon, he's not a freshman, but he played incredible.
So it's funny. I watched the game with shout out to Derek Clark, who has coached college, played linebacker for us, Iowa State back in the 90s, and
Troy Davis era.
And Troy Davis era. And so I'm watching the game with him, and he is screaming at Malik Verdon because he's not coming up with the right run fit at the beginning of the game. To the point where he goes, I don't know who number 7 is, but he needs to. And so I said, well, it just happens to be one of our probably NFL prospect D-backs. And then he makes the interception, and he was just mad because he was coming up too deep, I believe, on a run, and he was letting guys by. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was past my pay grade. But that was kind of fun because I didn't see it. I mean, I wasn't seeing the same thing he was. But Malik had probably a play of the game. I mean, that was a fantastic pick.
Yeah, and how rewatching the game, like the announcers were, I don't know if it was just me. Like obviously I read Twitter and there's obviously people saying the same thing. The announcers are kind of cheering for Baylor the whole time.
Well, I mean, I think they had announced the Baylor game the week before, so I think they knew Baylor.
Like
maybe,
the Verdon
they were bad. The color guy was horrible.
Like he was celebrating the Baylor play pass. But before then Verdon picked it off, and he kind of sounded disappointed.
Right. I know.
So he was like excited to do this huge call. I'm just like,
well, they got to find something to get excited about because there wasn't any crowd noise. That's for sure.
True, yeah.
I mean,
that is true. I mean, they could have. I mean, if they didn't learn the skills during COVID, well, they're never going to learn it because they had no crowd.
I was trying. I actually considered going to that game. I looked up plane tickets and was thinking about going. Yeah, just to. I think I'd like. Because I really wanted to go to the BYU game, and I was close to pulling the trigger on that, but. There is a reality of budget cuts sometime, but
yeah, Iowa State fans, if you ever figure out where Craig is traveling, just don't go. Because not going to go well.
Yeah, that's right. I probably should have. So we're definitely going to win. That's why we won the Baylor game. I'm probably going to definitely blow out BYU if I'm not there too. So
yeah,
so if we won the Big 12, get to the Big 12 championship game, I can't go.
Which BYU, we're playing at 9:15.
Yeah, Central Time. Crazy. So it's 8:15 Mountain Time.
9:15. That's a late game.
Yeah, well, it's the West Coast. That's what you get when you get the West Coast guys.
Like even if we go to double overtime, maybe
go straight to church.
Yeah, right.
Go straight to breakfast.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, the new Big 12s are exciting. It just kind of sucks that this schedule came out, kind of deflated the air of it for me at least, because I was excited because Colorado's coming to the conference. I was like, oh sweet, maybe they'll come to Ames and. Dion, they don't come until 2027,
and we play them once.
Dion, Colorado
in 2025.
Yeah, Colorado could be back to where they were, one win by 2027. Because who the hell knows when Dion's?
Dion will be in the NFL coaching his son again, probably.
Yeah,
but that's that would be a logical rivalry to try to re-up. You know what I mean? Because they're no Big 8 school.
Yeah.
I mean, but we only pay them. We get to play UCF 3 times. We play Colorado twice. I mean. You and I should have been in charge of the schedule. We could have figured it out a lot better than this.
I don't know. I think hopefully
make UCF go to BYU and vice versa.
I just hope humans made these decisions, not a computer, and they just said,
true.
"Oh, they look good." I don't know. It's obviously 2027. We're complaining about 2027 already, and Got a long way to go till then.
Yeah,
and it's
no
just
kidding.
we got a great it's just like going back to like Harcaw's interview before the season. It's just like we just need to stay the course. Like obviously the gambling stuff made it weird, and like obviously it made the offense kind of track like. Just looking at the Iowa game, if we just had any offense at all, we'd have won.
We're a different team.
I mean, it's like
our
completely
offense is different. Our offense is totally different since the Ohio game and the Iowa game. Everything's different. So it's it was a learning curve. We have a new offensive coordinator, young guy. I mean, we have a learning curve. We also have a bunch of young players playing. So we probably should have been smart enough to figure out that this was going to happen.
Because like Shieldhouse has probably been waiting for this opportunity for a long time, and now that it came. During the summer, you lose your starting quarterback that you thought were going to happen. You lose your Drew Brock was ready for the Big 12. He was ready for the Big 12. Like he was like a grown ass man, ready to just hand the ball off. But obviously that couldn't happen. I just feel bad for him because man, he would have been freaking good. We obviously we got our. I'm not saying our running backs aren't great now; they're awesome, and I think Sama might have a huge game on Saturday because like obviously he got benched because he fumbled it, but he barely fumbled. Like it was close. It was barely.
It could have been reversed pretty easily. But there was one view I think that somebody came in front of the view and you can tell very easily.
Shout out to Bryce Bradley. I was talking to before the game. He was like, "This is gonna happen. We're gonna have a review. We're gonna have good angles, and we're gonna get screwed over about it." And it's like literally like 20 minutes later it happens, but. Obviously, that play didn't really matter that much because Baylor went 3 and out or whatever, I think, and didn't score. And it's just nice especially it's nice when our kids our freshmen make mistakes and it's not a huge game-altering mistake.
Yeah.
Like how many times were Purdy was a freshman where he made a big mistake and.
Oh yeah.
But obviously.
He did that against Baylor, didn't he? Didn't have that one he threw backwards and he intercepted it.
That was TCU.
That was TCU.
We won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an ugly play.
That was not but it's just funny how Brock Purdy had the best Iowa State quarterback in Iowa State history, but that one play goes viral, which is more viral than all of his good players at Iowa State, and that's why.
Yeah, and I think
that's why the internet hasn't accepted Brock Purdy being good. I mean, obviously he has struggled the last 2 or 3 weeks with 49ers, which I think he obviously.
I don't think he's right. I honestly think that concussion thing he probably shouldn't have played Sunday. I mean, I just don't think he looks. Right, and so this is their bye week, isn't it? Yeah, so
I think
he's going to be in Ames Saturday. Sounds like so.
Yeah, that'll be a big roar when he gets in.
Oh baby,
that'll be awesome.
That'll be awesome. I mean, we had a whole. It's going to be tailgating for 8 hours. It's going to be a mess in the
ranked Kansas team coming to town.
Yeah, so I bought 14 tickets for Saturday, and
shout out to promo.
We're bringing out as many because I was on social media StubHub trying to find tickets, and then all of a sudden we get this email promo, and I said, we're sitting fairly close to the middle of the field, but we're way up top, and I really don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how many of those people, the same people just like you, had a bunch of you wanted us because we were sold out 8 hours later.
Yeah,
how many people did the same thing?
I got 14 tickets for $405.
Not bad.
I mean, that's insane. So then I just checked out the money for a good parking pass, and we're good to go. So hopefully the rain stays away and the wind stays away. The wind will be the only. If it's windy, it won't be fun. But as far as the weather goes, but I think we can handle it if it's not windy. And
I think especially if it is windy and the conditions make it so we can't pass it. I think.
Yeah, that'll change.
Our tight ends have been playing so good the last couple weeks.
Yep, I agree.
Bramer's
getting better every week.
Ben Bramer on the receiving end. And Deason Dean and the blocking has just been fantastic because during the Norton run, obviously our lineman has been doing better since the first couple weeks. But when you just see that, during the Breece Hall, Dylan Sainer year, Dylan Sainer was such a good, he was another offensive lineman out there. And I think our young tight ends are kind of growing their body. And obviously we have Deason Dean who's been here since.
Came in as a quarterback.
Yeah, which he's been. He has a blocker. I think he's
a big man.
He's helped us out on the running game a lot. And
chair keeps shrinking. Hang on a second. I feel like I know I'm shrinking, but not that fast. Well, it looks like they pulled right now they pulled the rain out of the forecast. Looks like 54 during the day. Winds light and variable. I can handle light and variable.
I just don't trust apps with the weather because the 1 year where
Casey's guy, man.
No, I'm saying that 1 year where it was game day, Iowa's first game day where it rained, or where it rained the whole day. I woke up, we had a 5% chance of rain, and it rained the whole day.
Yeah. Well, I was a meteorology major at Iowa State for 6 months, and the head of meteorology told me back then, of course, it was a long time ago, said that the best meteorology we have today is 50% better than an outright guess. So if it's gotten twice as good, it's 75% better than an outright guess. So
yeah, it's nice to look at the weather and see that the highest date of the week is on Saturday. And
yeah, right. I'm glad the game wasn't yesterday. With the wind and cold, I mean, it would hurt our crowd. We wouldn't have as many people there. And yeah, no, I'm in all the text chains that I'm on and friends that I know are all pretty jacked up about the game. We do have a couple things that I'm concerned about. I think Cooper is not playing.
You don't think so?
No, I am 99% sure he's out. I know Campbell said 50-50. I think that's coach speak. So, and it's a hamstring. Why? I mean, that's what took Norton out. Hamstrings are hard to get over in the middle of the season. So
yeah, it's not like a quick
fix. That's a bad thing for us in general. And hopefully he can figure out a way to get it healed up. But it's one of those injuries. Anybody out there that's ever pulled one before, when you have a hamstring, it's just hard to get it to heal without just shutting it down for 2 months. And we don't have time for that. And he's playing so well. I mean, gosh, that's a kick in the jaw to lose him. But
it's also, we have a pretty good depth there.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, I'm not, but he's it's like saying we're going to take out Jamal Tinsley out of the lineup. I mean, I mean, in that core, I mean, he's our best safety.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and leading the country in interceptions. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was listening to one of the Kansas podcasts today, and they don't know if Daniels will play or not. Bean, played really well against Oklahoma, but the thing that they brought up that I thought was kind of funny is that Bean has one road win in his career.
Wow.
I think he lost at North Texas.
Really?
So this is going to be a tough environment for him to try to get right when it comes to winning. This is the craziest stats that I heard today about the Oklahoma win. They hadn't beaten Oklahoma since 1997. They hadn't had a top 10 win since 2008. They hadn't had a top 10 win at home since 1984.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, even the Mangino years didn't
top
have
10 win or just
they hadn't had a top 10 win at home since 1984.
That's insane. Wow. Because we beat Okie State, we beat TCU at home. I don't know. We beat West Virginia. Will Greer. I think they're in the top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, they were
3.
Yeah,
3.
Right.
That's 3.
Yeah.
And Iowa was ranked in the top 10 back when Drew Tate got hurt.
So, I mean, I was sporadically watching the Oklahoma game with them. When they had the weather delay and then they came back, it looked like a lot of their fans didn't come back. Did they eventually fill that again?
Yeah, I don't know. Cause I don't think so. Like, looking through the game, I think they left.
Do you remember when they were who were they playing not that long ago, and they sent a message out to the student body at halftime trying to get fans to show up.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Baylor. Kansas,
yes.
Yeah, they sent an email. Yeah, they were beating Oklahoma at halftime. They sent a mass email out to the whole students like, come to the game for free.
It's free. Open up the gates. Go bring your grandma.
It's like, I was thinking at times like, that is a security risk. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's just obviously them beating Oklahoma the last time they were playing at Oklahoma. That's got to be like Kansas fans. Like that's got to be so awesome. Like that's what I wanted last year. I want Oklahoma and Texas to both not be in the Big 12 championship. Yeah,
that is my dream. I don't care who it is. I obviously want us there, but I would just love it if Texas and Oklahoma were not in the Big 12 championship.
We can take care of business on Saturday. Texas loses to Kansas State. I think it'll just blow up.
Yeah. Again, Oklahoma's not right, and Texas is down Ewers. He's not playing.
Yeah, I think he's done. He'll probably come back in names.
But it's got to be. I mean, I think if we're going into the Texas game with no more losses than we have today, I don't care what the weather is, that place will be packed. And so I want it to be some flurries flying around and be similar to the night Patrick Mahomes showed up and the Texas boys didn't have any desire to be around cold weather and wanted to get the heck out of there. So
yeah. I kind of wish the last Texas game was the last one, if I'm being completely honest. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Breece Hall just ran all over him. Yeah. At the end of the social media the day after the game was the Texas linemen on the bus just screaming at
that's
everyone.
right. I forgot about that.
And they're a completely different team now. And if they can slip up against them, watching them against Bam, I'm just like, man, they're different. But it just whenever they lose, for some reason, half their team just like they're just poof.
Yeah.
Like they obviously probably go through the whole off season like, oh, we're gonna go. We need it. Like this is the year. Like because they have freaking so much talent. Like Ewers, like you have a Manning in there.
Yeah.
And like obviously all these transfers and NILs made it even more like crazy for Texas. That they thought even before NIL that they should just win anyways because they had all the money, but they didn't back then. Now they do have all the money. It's just I don't know. I think they'll be better than Oklahoma will be in the SEC. If
Texas, you mean?
Yeah, I think
that probably
because I think Oklahoma will lose if they have a couple of bad seasons in a row. I think they'll kind of like turn into Nebraska. I think they have a better chance.
Speaking of Nebraska, that's one that used to be a rivalry game, Oklahoma and Nebraska, and with the Big 8 breaking up and Nebraska going to the Big 10, Big 8, going to the Big 12, and then the Nebraska going to the Big 10. That's a rivalry we don't even talk about anymore. That used to be must-see TV when those two guys got together. And so that's, when you lose these natural rivalries, like this will be the last Bedlam series, more than likely.
Colorado, Nebraska.
Yeah, Colorado, Nebraska used to be. So now
do you think? I guess we're
just gonna have to move on. Like 10 years from now, we'll probably forget about it.
Do you think Nebraska regrets? Like, obviously, they could have been the top. I think Nebraska. If Nebraska stays, they somehow figured out and might be the top dog in the Big 12 if they didn't leave. Because if they didn't fire Bo Pelini, which was dumb.
Well, they fired Frank Solich. And that's the guy that replaced Osborne. And then they fired him because we weren't winning it. They weren't winning enough. And then Pelini came in.
Was Osborne like Seneca?
Osborne would have been that's the glory years for Nebraska. Then he retired. Frank Solich was his assistant, took it over, and then went to Ohio. And I think the stadium in Ohio is named after Frank Solich now. So
we know about Ohio.
Yeah. So I don't know if they would have. Anyway, I think, to answer your question, they probably would. I personally wish they were still in the Big 12, but money talks, and that's why they're there. So they've been mediocre ever since.
It's just like a shame to turn on the game. They're playing Northwestern. It's like they have no history. They don't give a crap. They're playing each other. It's just all about money. But
North Iowa's, in the hunt to go to the Big 10 championship. They're streaming this weekend. They're on Peacock.
They're like going to if they went out, they're going to the Big 10 championship. But right now, their fan base is just in shambles.
Ferentz is gone. I bet you it's Kirk's last year too.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I kind of feel like he might come back. He might it's a lot of money. He's getting paid a lot of money.
He has a lot of money.
I'm saying it's a lot of money. And
he gave a lot of. I don't think the reason they have the wave is because he's the one that got him to build that floor so the kids could see the game. So he's got plenty of money, and he's not a spring chicken anymore either. He could go on the takeover for Lee Corso on game day or something.
I don't think Kirk is. I don't know. He kind of has the older he's getting, the more like he doesn't care, and he's been showing his more personality.
That's the way it should be.
I'm surprised. I was watching his press conference yesterday. I was waiting for him just to go off, but he never did. He's just the way he is. He's respectable, and he's I think he kind of knows that he's not all the I kind of respected him yesterday, acknowledging that he's not the highest of the power. There's people above him who can make decisions.
Yeah,
when you're at his point, I would be like, I'm making all decisions. The reason why you're getting paid all the money is because I made the fan base care because he just took the baton from Hayden Fry and Dallas Clark years where, man.
I remember when, because Ferentz and Aranda's personalities are similar, except Aranda is another step down as far as enthusiasm goes. But Ferentz is just a really calm guy, and you don't ever see him getting wound up. And I still like to know what he's writing in those note cards every time something goes wrong. But
why we're bringing up this Ferentz thing, I kind of want Iowa State fans to take note. We don't want to act like this if Campbell ever stays the entire time and retires. We should not treat Campbell like that.
Yeah, right. I agree.
And I think we'll obviously 10 years from now, hopefully 15 or whatever, how long Campbell wants to coach, and hopefully it's at Iowa State. I just don't want us to get we deserve better and we think we can win national championships. I'm just I don't know. I think if I was,
but that's what happens though. When you start getting things, then you want more. That's just the way we're wired, and it's if you start winning, then you think you should win more, unless you're Alabama and winning a lot of national championships. But then you could be like Baylor and be relevant nationally, and some scandal breaks everything up, and you got to go back to square one. So Iowa's never had that, never had scandals to deal with. Not major ones like Baylor or SMU or any place like that.
I guess I don't know. I guess I don't even remember. I didn't really read into what the old strength coach and all that jazz when he got let go.
It was just overworking kids and with the rhabdo thing. But
I don't know. Obviously, when you've
this isn't the Hawkeyes. We need to move on from the Hawkeyes fast because I'm probably.
But I'm just saying this comes back to how we treat Campbell, like especially this year, where we kind of got spoiled and we're kicking our feet that Campbell's like not the whole fan base. Obviously, it was probably like 5 to 3% of the fan base who were just very vocal and spreading obviously shouting at Campbell that he's going to be on the hot seat.
So do we owe that guy an apology? We played pretty damn well since he did that.
But I don't think either way it happens. Because Campbell has turned things around. Like the Jacob Park situation was a fiasco in 2017, and we survived that. And times that by a million, that was the gambling situation, and we survived that. So I think we need to start giving Campbell more flowers and appreciating him.
Give him what?
Give him more flowers.
More flowers.
Like treat him well.
Oh, okay.
Like Shieldhouse. Shieldhouse came like the first couple of weeks where it just looked like nothing changed. Like, and then I feel like as soon as that game where I think he got given the keys, where you give Rocco a little more leash, and then I think we haven't looked back since.
Yep. No, we're a different team. I mean, if you go back and watch the plays you're in against Ohio versus today, different animal altogether.
Like watching Ben, I just kept thinking, what is Rocco and Ben Bramer if they stick out like Brees Hall and Burt? Like, what are they going to look like when they're fully developed and like Sama and?
Well, the thing, Rocco, Sama, Bramer, the other the black kid, the Brendan Black, I think is the offensive lineman. Yeah. They're 18 years old. Yeah. Mother Nature is going to kick in and let them fill out just naturally too. Every man goes through that from 18 to your early 20s, that you just fill out physically, and also you have this nutrition in the weight room. So you're not gonna recognize them when they're juniors even. Yeah. So
because like Ben Bramer's just gonna get better, and like what is he gonna look like when he's better? Like right now, like he ran like a 48-yard run for a tight end. And I wish the announcer could just get his name right the first time. Yeah. It's like. How many times? Like, he's freaking one of the best tight ends in the Big 12. Yeah. Figure it out. It's so annoying.
You are wound up today.
It's so, I don't know. It's just, I think it has a bunch of, like, the Big 12 refs, the Big 12 is never, like, obviously, Brett Uramark has done fantastic job. This is, like, the only thing we can criticize him on. Yeah. So we're just going to kick and scream, and it's already set in place, so.
Speaking of officials, we said a week or so ago we hadn't seen many targetings. Now all of a sudden we're seeing targetings again. What is going on? I mean, Sanders got called for one, which was borderline. I mean, TJ got kicked out Saturday for a targeting. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe
he got kicked out of the perfect time.
Yeah, couldn't have happened.
40 to 50 seconds go. Yeah. I'm just like, I was like, look, even during the game, I was like, if there's a time to get kicked out, it's right now.
And I'm sure it won't happen again.
If it happens 48 seconds into the third quarter, he has to sit out the whole first half of the Kansas game. Yeah, which I don't. Get. I don't get how
if we're down Cooper and TJ, that's a problem.
Cooper. If we can keep Cooper, Ben Bramer, and Sama next year, those three? Because
and the offensive lineman too. We got to keep the offensive lineman that we're developing too. I mean and we need to probably hit the portal and maybe find one or two that have some experience that, because obviously our offensive line coach has just made leaps and bounds with these kids. And because we're getting holes, we're running the ball consistently. I don't remember the last time we had a 3-and-out because we couldn't run it. I mean, I'm sure we have. I just don't remember one. He's doing Ryan Klein is doing a fantastic job, and so God knows what's going to happen when we have him next year.
It seems like in the Campbell era where we need to get started getting NFL linemen. We need to get at least one or two, because through the skill positions and the running back. I think the running back's a great example, and the D line we have. When we have success there and we put people in the NFL, it just makes it that much easier to recruit. And we just haven't done that in the last 30 to 40 years or whatever.
Yeah, we need somebody like Spencer Brown, the kid that he coached you and I, that's playing for Patriots. Is that who he plays for? Jets. I mean, I know not Jets. Can't remember who he plays for, but he's one of their, because he hung out with Bert Kreischer. That's the only reason I remember him. He was one of their on one of their podcasts. I heard him talking about it. Anyway, but he's a really good NFL lineman, so that's the kind of guys that we need. And he is not the one the strength coaches. He's listed as an offensive. He's an offensive line coach and assistant coach. So I'm assuming that. So I'm finding it. Just chill out. It is. I know Trevor Ryan obviously is the assistant strength coach.
Oh, it's
right. Yeah, that's right. Reed Kagi. Isn't that right?
This is terrible.
Yeah, this is not something we should be doing. We have to edit this or something. Reed Kagi, Director of Football Strength and Conditioning.
Oh, he's from the BYU guy.
Yeah,
or
no,
the
Boise State guy. Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he was.
That's right. Doesn't matter.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe the two, because didn't we fire both the offensive line coach and the strength coach?
Yes.
At the same time? Maybe that's
what you're. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
My bad.
That's right. That's right. We'll forgive you.
We have to give Reed
Kagi.
Reed Kagi, like, good job. Like,
good job, Reed.
Obviously,
can't remember your name, but you're doing a hell of a job.
But I'm just saying he needs more recognition.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because think of last year how many drives we couldn't finish. We get inside the 10 and we couldn't punch it.
Or a 4th and 1.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and also I said this on the one of the other podcasts. It says we don't jump off sides like we have in the past. We haven't had a drive buster where we have 3 offensive linemen not knowing the snap count and jumping off sides. That has not happened this year very often.
And Neil happened on Saturday.
Yeah,
but he got hurt too.
That's one of the first ones in a long time.
Yeah, because I think that's a great point. I just saw that. Great point. One of the only things I don't know if it was Brock's fault or it was just the system's fault on offense. How many times did Brock, where it was a crucial situation, and we just false start?
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying.
And it happened throughout this whole career. I don't think maybe Rocco's either doing something different or the snap.
I think it's the offensive line coach.
Yeah,
I think it's discipline.
And because I just go back to my mind, it's like the Big 12 championship game happened a long drive. Can't happen. Alamo Bowl game happened all the time in the Alamo Bowl game. It's like, how differently if we just discipline right there, what would the Campbell era be different?
Yep, that's right. I agree.
I think having discipline on the offensive line is something we really haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun to see long runs where it's not a fluke.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like the Norton run was not a fluke.
No.
Everyone did their job, and it looked beautiful.
It wasn't a David Campbell long run where he gets hit twice before he gets to this line of scrimmage.
Or Brees was just faster than everyone.
Right. Boy, talk about Brees.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby. All of the announcers are talking about this young man is special. They said it several times on Sunday. So I'm just not getting a hell of a lot done on Sundays anymore. I mean, it's when the 49ers and the Jets are playing in 2 different time slots, my Sunday is done.
Because, man, Brees is so
Will McDonald, fantastic. He about just blocked the field goal, and then they ended up missing it. And I think Will kind of got in their face a little bit. So, yeah, we've got a lot of Cyclones to watch on Sundays.
Yeah, it's just having Brees Hall and Brock Purdy just go out in the NFL and just shine. Kohler, I'm not sure Kohler hasn't really done much. I think if he can find a different team, maybe he can be more utilized. Which
I'm sure he'll be a project. I mean, he's got the skills, and he's also extremely smart, so he can go be an engineer and make a lot of money anyway. So.
He won't struggle with life, whatever he does. But I'm saying it's so situationally. Like Lazard, who got picked up at the Jags, they're trying to put him in tight end, and then he ends up in the Packers and just has a couple. Like I don't know.
He had a big catch.
I'm not sure I'd love to have Lazard on for a podcast talk about like the backstories on it, but I think. Just the general feel of what happened, I think, was Rodgers just had a couple good practices with him, and that's all it really takes.
Yeah.
A couple.
And they connected, and Did you see Lazard's Halloween costume he wore into the stadium? That was pretty funny. It was like a big grill out there or something.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, he's enjoying life right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and he had a big catch in that game, and he's fun. It's fun. This has been in my lifetime. I don't remember ever having this many Iowa State players to watch on Sunday. I mean,
it's just like seeing Lazard in the NFL is like if Lipsy ever makes the NBA, it's gonna be like just like that, because like he grew up an Iowa State fan, came to Iowa State. He could have gone.
Dad played for, talking about Lazard. His dad played for Iowa State.
And it's just, he's out there and it's just like feels, I don't know, it's just maybe if I'm the only one like this, but it feels like a family member out there.
Yeah, it does.
It's weird.
And
it's like a distant relative.
Like when Brock was struggling, he just felt, he felt hurt personally, like I was watching you play. I mean, that's almost kind of the way I felt if you made a mistake.
Yeah, and like when they glance over the parents, I'm just like, don't show the parents.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if, I don't know, weird fantasy land where like one of your kids is in the NFL and they make a mistake in the NFL. I would go nuts.
I'd probably be looking at the camera and flipping off the camera because I knew they'd be going
nuts. Like that Iowa wrestler last year who lost for like the first time. His mom like broke the glasses and all that. Remember that?
Do you remember that Ashley Jones's dad when he used to ran up and down the ran up and down the? Oh my God! And it was women's basketball, so it wasn't wall to wall people, and everybody could see him running around. So. Speaking of the women, they play tonight.
Yep.
They play Truman State, who Audie Crooks, our freshman from Bishop Garrigan and Algona, plays her point guard at Bishop Garrigan plays for Truman State, Molly Joyce.
We saw this last time, but yeah.
But Molly had played their first exhibition game against Illinois last week.
Oh, yeah?
Point guard for Bishop Garrigan last year.
Yep.
Illinois is ranked 10th.
Oh, wow.
She had 18 points.
Wow.
As a true freshman, playing 1A basketball last year and goes big time Division I and goes, so I think there's going to be a lot.
I wonder if she get picked up from a different team already, the NIL.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, she's a good person. I got to know her a little bit through her school, but she's a good person too. So, yeah, 6:30 tonight. So I don't know if that's any way is that a Cyclones.tv thing or not? Haven't seen either.
I think most things are through ESPN Plus nowadays, but who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if probably is. Probably get some really top level announcers for that baby.
Yep. Right. I think Other news today was JT Rock and Jelani Hamilton decided to redshirt. I think
JT Rock was
we thought JT Rock was going to, but Jelani was kind of
That's a shocker to me.
Kind of a shocker, but I think you can look at this way a lot of ways. The first thing I thought of was like redshirting. How is that even a thing anymore? Because people, why would you, like, obviously not this situation, because those two kids I think love Iowa State and want to be Iowa State. I think this is a weird situation because I think JT Rock and Jelani, like obviously Jelani Hamilton's parents came to Iowa State, so this is kind of a different. If it was just, I think it'd be if it was two different dudes, like if they were not had connections to Iowa State, I think it'd be different. And I think those two will have like how many other programs in college basketball have had sit out years like we've had.
Yeah.
And had like Deontay Bird and Nate or
there's a long list.
Yeah, there's a huge long Will Clyburn, Corey Lucius. How many like those they got all of them got way better when they sat out. So
well, you think, but JT Rock should be a senior in high school right now.
Yeah, which he's a. And
Jelani is 18 years old.
Yeah,
and takes a lot but they're also really good.
Yeah, that's the difference.
So that really tells you where our program's at, and that we can redshirt those two guys now.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy. How many times we redshirt a 4-star recruit, 6'6" guard, or a 7-footer in like your life? Never. Like I don't know. It's just. I think, especially with being redshirt, they can pull it whenever. So if like injuries happen, we have the like JT Rock and Jelani to go to, which is great. I remember the first year where we had to bring on football players.
Yeah,
like
that hasn't just happened more than once. I mean, Andy Stensrud who's got a son that's a senior in high school this year that plays with Caleb Bacon's brother at Lake Mills.
Oh yeah, but
he played both. He played.
It's just like going from that. The first year of the Fred era where we were kind of at the bottom.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously the Prom obviously made it there again, but TJ is just taking the throne and got every recruit he wanted, and it's just, we can't get rid. It's just so awesome. We're just, football, we're tied first, and
Say that again?
We're tied first. In
Crazy that you can actually say that.
And also, game day doesn't even pick our freaking game still, but whatever.
Yeah. You really think they're going to pick Kansas and Iowa State
saying,
for crying out? Is that what you're saying?
We're tied in the first in Big 12 and Power 5, and they don't.
Yeah, so's Kansas.
They don't even put our game up on the selection thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they will. I bet you they do Sunday or Saturday.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, where Iowa State, I think we have to do so much for the media even, I think, especially game day coming to Ames twice and we lose. both times didn't really help the media because like after that, Paul Feinbaum just went on off on Iowa State. He's like, I don't want to hear about Iowa State ever again because like every time they play Iowa in big games. But I think if we can just keep the core we have, and I think Campbell, like people forget Campbell's getting better too. I think.
Oh sure, yeah.
Campbell and his staff are just going to get better, and I think if we can have a solid OC with John Haycock, dangerous. And I think
we got to keep if we can keep that whole staff together for a few more years.
Till 2027.
Right. The odds of doing that are not great. I mean, because I'm sure people are going to be coming after Shieldhouse. Obviously, people are going to come after Campbell every year, and he turned down a big payday already once. And so, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think, we're just probably the guys that pony up money for Iowa State are probably going to have to pony up even more to keep all of these guys around. Yeah. So, and I think Campbell likes raising his kids' names. I don't know the man personally. I watch his press conference every week. I know people that know him and just know his values. And, I've read some books that he's read. And so you can kind of get a feel of what kind of human being he is. And so I think he probably is, if he can, make his kind of money that he should be making, but not, California or New York money. I mean, I think we can keep him. And we just got to make sure we're staying positive with him and show up. I mean, that's why we're all going Saturday, is that we all want to go because obviously it's a big game, but it's also one of the first games that I could actually go to this year. So it's going to be fun.
And we have redshirt freshmen and true freshmen that are freaking good.
Yeah.
Like, it's been like the Brock Purdy starting when as a freshman was a total like crazy thing. Yeah. Now we're
Mike Rose starting as a freshman.
Yeah. And it's just Campbell can recruit, and we just need be patient and trust him.
And Jeremiah Cooper, is a true sophomore, and then we've got other true freshmen that are playing. But probably I'm going to keep coming back to this. Probably the most shocking one is this true freshman offensive lineman. I mean, there's not many times we get a true freshman offensive lineman that can play at this level right out of the gate. So, I guess he's really kind of changed that room. So, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can get a W Saturday. I think it's going to get into the. I just don't know what to think about it. I mean, I think their receivers are good. Our secondary is good. They're a solid group all around. They're well coached, but they are Kansas. And it's going to be a crazy environment. And if we can get on them early and, we just got to, like Campbell says a million times, we got to win in the margins. We need to make our field goals. We need to make PATs. We need to, limit, if not eliminate, the penalties and get a turnover. I mean, we can't have any silly turnovers in the red zone or something like that. So, and there's going to be a big play from somebody. I mean, Jalen's going to run one back, or we're going to get a pick six or something like that. And if we can get that, then I really like our chances. So It's just going to hurt not having Jeremiah, because Jeremiah is playing lights out right now.
Which, I don't know. He could play. You never know. Campbell, you have no idea. The injuries, I think they should make a rule or something, because especially, I don't get sports gamble, but those people who gamble high stake money, that's a huge
That's their problem.
No, I'm saying, but the NFL, you have to show who's playing or not.
Yeah.
So I think they need there's so much money involved. There has to be a change.
I don't know. That money has not exactly been a positive for this whole thing. So,
but there's also some rule but it's also nice for fan perspective. How if you're driving 4 hours, I would like to know if my starting quarterback's playing. I don't want to go.
Sure.
If Rocco was hurt and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I see your point. Yeah.
It's especially with bowl games. That's what my biggest gripe with bowl games. Players don't play. Why would I spend all this money on
right?
They might, it's an invitation. They might play, they might not play. They might.
Well, they
might not play during the one game. Okie State player quit at halftime.
Yeah, the NIL has got to fix that. Yeah. I mean, they need to pay these kids.
Yeah, a lot.
Right, give them a bonus or whatever. I mean, I know they legally can't call it a bonus, but give them something to keep them from opting out.
Yeah,
give them that. For crying out loud, if you're Caitlin Clark, why would you ever go to the WNBA? Because you're making so much money. There's the Shedeur Sanders. He's not going to he can't get paid that much in the NFL right now. He's not going anywhere. So somebody's got to have the money to be able to get these kids to keep playing.
Yep. which I think it's I don't know. We needed someone to look over the sports. I think the NCAA, they lost their power with the NIL stuff. I think we need something new, and obviously bringing something new could make it 10 times worse.
Yeah, but could make the haves and the have-nots even wider.
They might just be like, okay, Big Ten, SEC, everyone else just have go play. A crazy. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
exciting.
What else we got going on?
Really?
The bye week for the 49ers. So we got the Jets and only this weekend. We got the first NFL game or basketball game a week from this coming Monday, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
5 days away.
Yeah, crazy. And you're the one that does. I mean, you want to give Thomas a shout out. He's the one that does the edits on YouTube and cuts the commercials out, and so you can rewatch the games. Yeah. I did it. I watched it.
I also do it for myself, honestly.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, they'd be getting like 2,000 views.
I know, but it's like I do it so like I don't have to go to the ESPN app. Like the ESPN app sucks.
Yeah, it does.
And like YouTube's way better for like the access and I don't know. Like other people do it for other schools. I'm like, why not do it for us? Because being like as a kid, like I want like little kids and like teenagers to like have access to games. Like I always wanted that when I was little. Like
you put a lot of the other old games up too, so you spend a lot of time on it. So
like how many times you go to the like just waiting for them to post the highlights. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, we had if you haven't caught it yet, I interviewed Brian Neal. Some of you probably don't know who he is, but he was the first sideline reporter for Iowa State. He was a friend of Pete Taylor's. That's how he got to be the sideline reporter. Then he let John Quinn take it over. Then it went to Ben Bruns, and now it's Ryan Harklaw. So he's John Neal, who played basketball for Iowa State. Patrick Neal is his dad. Really kind of, it was kind of interesting listening to him about how, he was recruited. He was recruited by everybody. Notre Dame, he was voted the best offensive lineman as a freshman in the country when he was a freshman at Iowa State. Didn't get to the NFL because of a knee injury, but it was really interesting just in perspective of the NIL world we live in today versus the world that he played in. He had friends that were played in the NFL that had real jobs in the offseason. One guy, I think he said, was a UPS guy. So can you imagine Breece Hall being a UPS man in the offseason? I mean, it was – so go and listen to it. Brian's a good guy. He runs Neal Insurance in West Des Moines. If you have any insurance needs, he's not paying us. We are a commercial-free podcast, by the way, if you haven't noticed already. But Brian, I'm just saying this because Brian's a good guy. It's Neal Insurance, and his kids work for him. Well, one of his kids worked for him. Good guy. He's if you're a farmer and need crop insurance quote, I'm sure he'd help you out. But it was a lot of fun. I've known Brian for 30 years. He's a good guy, and he's was a help. He beat George Kittle's dad in the 3A state championship wrestling back in the day. He's in the Iowa High School Hall of Fame. I mean, it was fun. So if you haven't got a chance to listen to it yet, give it a listen. He parks on the north side of the stadium. He donates plenty of money to Iowa State too, and he was just a good dude. So it was. And I remember, I'll tell you, I probably told this story before, but the way I met Brian is I lived next door to him in Winterset, and Patrick Neal, who played defensive end for Dowling and Iowa State, was probably 7 when I lived next door to him, and it was the first year your mom and I were married, and he'd run around and knock on the windows at our house just to scare us, and it scared the crap out of your mom a few times. But that's how I got to know him. He's a good dude.
Starting DN for us when we beat Okie State, number 2 at Okie State.
The
BCS. So that's quite an experience.
Yeah. So give it a listen if you're bored and driving around, listen to it. He's a good dude. So what's your prediction for Saturday?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Last couple weeks I've had like quiet confidence going in. I'm just like I think Kansas has a huge win off of Oklahoma. Obviously, coming to Iowa State is going to be a night game. It's going to be tough. Night games at Jack Trice.
It's going to be crazy. A lot of alcohol is going to be consumed before the game.
It was like Campbell and Jack Trice at night has been kind of money lately. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure the black uniforms are coming out. Bo Freeler was interviewed the other day, and it sounds like that's coming. I mean, so and Randy Peterson kept just asking him, what do you like about it? He goes, they're cool. It's like they look good. That's what he kept saying. So,
they're really soft.
They're soft and comfy.
Yeah,
the fabric softener they use is wonderful.
Yeah, Randy Peterson's Quite the guy.
Yeah, he's just been around for. He used to be. He actually lived in my neighborhood when we lived in Ankeny. So he's. You remember he broke his leg? Remember that in a basketball game?
Yeah, it was when we stormed the court.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good dude. I mean, he's seen. He probably goes. He goes all the way back to the old. You don't even remember this. Des Moines Register's sports section used to be the Big Peach.
The Big Peach.
That's what it's called. And all you old people, all you guys, if you're under the age of 50, you might not remember this, but the sports section of the Des Moines Register on Sunday used to be called the Big Peach, and it was peach-colored paper.
That's disgusting.
It was so weird. It was cool. I mean, because you knew where the sports section was when you picked up the paper. But yeah, there's some big peaches hanging on the walls probably somewhere.
I'm not. That makes me not sad that the worst era of Iowa State football was during probably that.
No, it wasn't. That was actually when Brian played with Big Earl Bruce. I mean,
really?
that was one of the interesting things about talking to Brian, because Brian played for Earl Bruce. Earl Bruce went to Ohio State.
Yep.
Gene Smith ended up being at Ohio State, or AD. John Cooper was the head coach at Iowa State, played for Iowa State. John Cooper was the head coach at Ohio State. He played for Iowa State. It's just such a strange connection that we have with those two programs. But we were really good back then, and we had some talent. I mean, Dexter Green, Dwayne Crutchfield, we go down the list, and then this is what happens. They poached Earl Bruce from us, and we got Donnie Duncan, and then Jim Kreiner, and was kind of went downhill a little bit, and then we had, Walden was, average, I guess you could say, and so that was the beginning of our struggles, was the early 80s.
Is that why we just kept changing our uniforms and changing our logo
so.
and just kept throwing crap at the wall?
Yeah.
It's like we make fun of the Iowa with the Steelers, but they changed their and then they with the program.
That's what Hayden Fry did it because of the Steelers, and then we got remember, you don't remember, I don't remember when it was, but they tried to change the Tiger Hawk.
Oh, really?
To update that, and that went over about as good as Crystal Pepsi. I mean, that was really, it went over really bad. It was ugly as hell too.
And do you remember, like, during the Johnny Orr era, did the AD, when did Gene Smith was the AD when Tim Floyd, when did Gene Smith become the AD at Iowa State?
I think
was he pushing out Johnny Orr?
Yeah, I mean, I think he replaced McCullough, if I remember right, because
was it kind of like the similar situation to what Brian Ferentz and Kirk Ferentz is kind of going through right now? They have a new AD who can actually make decisions. And
I don't know. I mean, I think Johnny wasn't real happy that they kind of, but
is there any similars? Like, is there similarities
between him and Ferentz? Or
right now, like what's going on?
Maybe, but
kind
Brian Ferentz. I mean, I was in the hunt to go to the Big Ten championship. We weren't in the hunt to win the Big 8 back then.
Yeah, that's true. But also, Johnny Orr made Iowa State.
Oh yeah, no, right. No disrespect for Johnny.
No, I'm saying disrespect. I'm saying like the AD, like new AD comes in, wants to change
put his name on it. That's the way it is with every place, though. I mean, that happens in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a change of administration, and then they want to get rid of a coach because maybe you had a personality conflict or something. I mean, that happens. It happens in companies, for crying out loud. I mean, with CEOs changing management. I mean. Hell, I remember I talked to my manager a year ago. I was talking to him on the phone, and then literally 10 minutes later, I get an email that he's been fired.
Wow.
I mean, and I called him, and I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "Well, I just found out, too." I said, "Good luck." Haven't talked to him since. It's crazy.
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, it's just Brian. His son goes to Iowa State.
Really?
Yeah. Lived kitty corner from the house I used to live in on Lynn Avenue, and Ames. He showed me a picture of it one day. But that's just
the reason why I brought that up is just watching the press conference, because like I remember watching the Johnny Orr like farewell, and he was he's crying.
Oh yeah, right.
Like did not look like he was like happy about it.
No, he put his heart and soul in this place. I mean, but man, what a personality! It was so much fun. I mean,
imagine him on a podcast.
John, yeah, oh, God, we had to have the bleep button going.
Yeah, a lot of edits.
But he playing the old Johnny Carson theme song when it came out, and pumping his fist, and everybody would go crazy. And we got to the point where we were even imitating his movements. He did something. I mean, as he came out, I mean, it was so much fun. I mean, we had some great games. I've told this story 100 times, but some of the stuff that we did in the stands back then, you cannot get away with today.
Yeah, tell the bottle cap story.
Oh, so Steve Stepanovich played for Missouri, and he had a hunting accident, supposedly, the summer before. We actually think it was, self-inflicted.
Baylor. Oh, okay.
So, no, self-inflicted. And so they introduced him at Hilton Coliseum, and a bunch of the student section, not me, I'm honest to God, I didn't do this. A bunch of the students brought in cap guns. If you remember the cap guns that, you hit them and they pop and they sound like the gun, but it's just a little bit of gunpowder. Started shooting those off after they introduced him at Hilton Coliseum. Can you imagine what would happen today with social media if that happened? We might have been banned from the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, look at Bama last year. If they're not going to ban them from the tournament, they're going to ban it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it was a different time. It was fun, though.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still an Iowa State fan. Have been. That's the one thing that's unique about our podcast. It's not like we all of a sudden came to the good side. We've been Iowa State fans forever, and we can go down the history of it for a long ways.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So, yeah.
I'm just glad I was right. 3 wins heading into November.
Great. We just like looking at it, we have it's a great time to be a Cyclone fan.
Yes, it is.
It's a great time.
It's a great time. November's fun too because we're in the hunt for all of the accolades for football, and then we're starting up basketball, and we get to see all of these new guys. I can never pronounce his name. Milojevic, the kid from Wisconsin. How do you pronounce it?
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Milan, whatever. I can never.
Oh,
I know.
Milan? Yeah. Milan.
I guess he's a walking bucket.
Yeah,
I guess he has been shooting the ball lights out. He's already put on a little weight, and and Hassan has taken great strides. I'm excited. It should be.
And we have Robert Jones, who's a solid guy, and I think he's perfect. I'm so glad he came back.
Yeah.
He's a perfect guy to have, especially with JT Rock and Jelani Hampton practicing.
Yeah.
Like, he's the perfect guy to have. He's the first, like, one of the first recruits Otts got when he came here was Robert Jones, and I think it's just
Robert gives us 4 fouls every night. I mean, he gives us a guy who can bang around, and now with our depth,
obviously
he doesn't have to worry about foul trouble.
But yeah, obviously now we have players that are obviously better than him. Obviously, that's no shot to Robert Jones. I think he'd say too, but
he can outwork him.
Yeah, but he'll dive on the floor and he'll piss off Kansas like Hunter Dickinson is going to be so pissed off when he plays Robert Jones.
Didn't Kansas just lose?
Yeah, Illinois. Yeah. It'll be a fun year, and I think Houston coming as the first game. I think that's great.
Yeah.
So
the return of Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was a big Larry Eustachy fan. They were kind of buds back in the day. So
Blake Griffin, Oklahoma, coming in. He was a great coach.
Yeah, he's won everywhere. He just got a little too aggressive when he was recruiting at Indiana. He did some things that he shouldn't be. That was the beginning of the texting world. I think that's what kind of got him in trouble. So,
which I think also, it just happened in October. We went undefeated in October, and we didn't have Brock Purdy as a quarterback. So that shows it's not a fluke. And Campbell, obviously Campbell stayed, and I don't know. It's just we're playing a ranked Kansas team on Saturday, and it's sold out. We got women's games on tonight.
Yeah, and Kansas, everybody's talking like, Kansas is going to come in with a letdown. I just don't see that happening. That's like saying, we in high school, we just made the dome to the semifinals and then get blown out. That doesn't happen very often.
Just think of the 2017 team. We beat Oklahoma, and then we think, we're going to have a fall game the next game. We would go to at Texas Tech, win comfortably.
Yeah.
And then,
so I don't think they're going to have a letdown.
It's kind of similar because they actually have players and actually coaching staff. It wasn't a fluke at all.
They might have a letdown making the first 5 minutes. And if that happens, then I really like our chances. If they come in with their head up the rear end and we run a kickoff back or get a long pass, then they settle down.
Or if they fumble in the reds, we have to score. We can't
bad snap and a punt.
We need to score on the turnovers when we can. We need to execute when they give us stuff. We need to take it. We can't just go 3 and out and just oh crap, because that's like we said on the game on Saturday. We had kind of moments like that where things could have gone south, but our defense responded and because Rocco had that pick he threw was that
was bad.
Sam B. Worth.
It was kind of like Brock's pick in the red zone for the 49ers. But well, I think it'll be fun. Can't wait for Saturday. Everybody show up there, get out and tailgate. It looks like it's going to be in the 50s during the day. Should be fun. Can't wait.
Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.